Hi, I'm Brent Lee. A middle school a middle schooler who likes to program games. I'll be giving a presentation on iterative and recursive programming methods. Use iterative and recursive programming to loop or repeat functions. Which one we use depends on the situation. Hmm, hmm, Here it is. Uh, a for loop has a set amount of iterations and usually performs the same action with different parameters for each iteration. A for loop example has swimming a set amount of laps, but we increase speed hit, by a set amount for each lap. A while loop checks the condition oh, before performing an action. It can run infinitely. Hmm, Um, let's let's say that we want to run for 5 minutes. That's if we check our time. If we check that our time exceeds 5 minutes, and that return and we we did not run for 5 minutes, we'll run for another minute. Rinse and repeat until our time exceeds 5 minutes. A do while is the same as a while loop, but the action is performed for the condition. Mm. So, so let's say we want to run for 5 minutes again. We run for a while, then we check if our time has passed 5 minutes. The repeat function is the same action is set counts of times. There are no parameter changes usually. Repeat action is hit a tennis ball against the wall the same way for a set amount of times. Recursive program involves to calling a method in itself. Previous iterations results are used on the current iteration. Hmm. 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 Say hello function below call to sum over to x is greater than or equal to 50, which results in hello being printed 500 times. And because before increments in x, we print hello. This is a Fibonacci sequence. We add the previous two numbers to get the next. The Fibonacci sequence can be calculated both iteratively and recursively. This is going to be important later. There's an iterative method of completing the Fibonacci sequence. The program takes in a user parameter to get to the desired term in a sequence. Put a 10 for 10 term, 5 for 5, etc., etc., etc. We use a for loop for a system of iterations, and we change the parameters or values, but the function of the previous two numbers is constant. We calculate setting in the current equal to the sum of the previous two terms, first and second, and then shifting terms up by 1. Rest becomes second, and becomes current. Next iteration of the loop will update currents as the next term. This Python program also stores the third attempt term of Fibonacci sequence, but does so recursively starting from the highest term. We check the numbers are still in sequence, positive or greater than 1. If this is true, we signifies the end of the sequence and returns the current value. If this is false, it returns the sum of the previous two terms in the sequence. It will cause as a method again, and we get set of sums. If p until it reaches 1, the first number of the sequence. Both methods need termination and involve repeating actions. Iterative methods use less memory, are easier, automatically terminate, are faster, and more versatile. Recursive methods which have more clarity and makes big problems with smaller ones. Here's an example. Here's an example of both of them eating a cookie. Iterative methods will eat the cookie like a normal person. Recursive will cut the cookie into smaller and smaller until we have bite-sized pieces. Here's the conclusion. We conclude that we should use iterative for simpler monotonous tasks like adding together all numbers in an integer array to get the sum. It is recursive for larger tasks that need to be broken down into smaller ones, like searching for rows of alphabetically sorted words for a single word, and with binary search. Both can be used for certain tasks. Thank you for listening.